following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
So let's talk about sports. What do you think?
Hey, it's a sports show.
Yep, that's a good idea.
That's Jim.
I'm Jim. This is Rob.
It's Rob with my detachable arms because I wore green right here.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake for 2 straight weeks, I think.
Oh, Cheryl Cardello is watching.
There's Tony on the Wheels of Steel.
Tony.
DJ Roy Barboza.
We need a camera that moves so we can show Tony. Tony is part of our.
Could do that.
Tony is there's a rumor about Tony. It's not really about Tony. It's unfortunately Rob started it.
Let's address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, or the 800-pound gorilla not in the room.
The human resources issue.
With John, our co-host, and you can take it from there if you wish.
So John is not here tonight. We don't know if it has anything to do with HR coming earlier today. And we have, Rob is concerned that it might have something to do with Matt Lauer, but that's just hearsay. I notice how I threw Rob under the bus on that.
I was worried. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, but we don't know. John's not here. Hopefully he'll call in and clear his name. But we don't know. Rumors are rumors. You don't know how things start. So anyway, that all being said. If we have friends that would like to, who should see this video, we should share it with them, so they can watch too, according to Facebook.
Yes.
So there's sports happening. So the only thing I can think of off the top of my head right now, first of all, the Red Sox are a little bit crazy. We'll talk about them in a minute. I do want to talk about, because we have not been on the air since Campbell High School won the football state championship. Rob did a great service to the community in sharing a link to a page, to the WhatsApp page, that allows people to watch the game through the NHIAA website, I believe. And you can also
what it is, it's a separate website. Pete Terrier, who did a lot of local sports.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a New Hampshire sports page. Those guys, they're not making money doing this sports page. They do it because they love local sports. They cover championship sports every year. Every week they'll go to a different place and do a play-by-play, the complete game. They did a Campbell Summersworth game. We saw the highlights from that. And they did the championship game, all 3 championship games. And
well, good for them.
They send on their website, they'll put in the highlight package.
Nobody cares about that.
Yes, they do. You should care about that. And if you go to their web page and you didn't go to the game and you want to see the game, they do have a DVD for sale.
And there's the point. All right. DVDs are good if you want them, and pay $20 for something. Anyway, congratulations to Campbell High School football. I was at the game.
Checking out all those credit cards, you could buy a DVD.
Were you at the game?
No, I work on Saturdays.
I saw the game. It was probably a high school game. As far as high school games, very exciting goes. There was a lot of runs between the tackles. A lot of them that went for 1 yard, 2 yards, no yards, -2 yards. Sitting in the stands was interesting because I was sitting next to parents and of football players, which I am not one. But it was interesting because you hear them really getting on the coaching staff. Well, maybe we should try running up the middle this time. Shouldn't run around the edge because there's nobody covering out there. We should run into a tackle every time. So it's just fun to listen to.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's fun. This is an undefeated.
What are you going to do to get there to get them to trust you?
I don't know, but it was humorous actually, at the very least.
Is that John?
Then yes, it is. Yep. All right, John McKenna calling in live here shortly as soon as Rob answers it.
I don't know how to work this thing.
Rob,
how do I get to the?
How do you get to the speakerphone? I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Lord.
John, are you in a phone booth?
Are you in a train? John.
What is Jim wearing tonight? Is my question. Looks like a farmer.
Jim, you are. All I can say to you is I hope you have heat in your car.
You're wearing one of those. He's wearing one of those women's winter puffy coats.
Okay.
My blue one is a women's. My black one is
On
my
a day when Gomer Pyle dies, that's the way you're going to dress.
True.
Poor Gomer Pyle died?
He did.
That's too bad.
Gomer Pyle and Keith Partridge in the same week. I'm really concerned about Sally Field now. I don't want to see the Flying Nun go down, too.
I know.
I had a conversation about the Flying Nun earlier today, and interestingly enough, over lunch.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
Raise your hand if you thought Jim Neighbors was still alive.
I did, because I go to the Indy 500 and he sings back home in Indiana every year at the race.
Oh, well, good. That's good for him.
Good for you.
So I knew that Jim was alive and kicking until this year.
Well, there's a gig open now, John. If you want to get your pipes going.
So John, we hadn't been on live since the Campbell High School won the state football championship, and we were just about talking about that when you called in. I was just commenting upon the fans in the stands I was sitting next to, and how really kind of tough they were on the coaching staff, and as the game was going on with. Basically it was student body left, student body right, and then every once in a while they throw a little hitch in the play and go around the edge and gain 20 yards. So we were talking about that, but it was interesting and for me because I watched the game and I said, boy, it's not really that fun to watch high school football because it really is. It's a handoff to the left, handoff to the right for the most part, and then you might see 3 or 4 passes and so on and so forth. But this game was exciting. Both teams went back and forth, scoring when they needed to and when they had to win. And really, both of them had a chance to win the game. It was really about as close a game as I would have expected for a championship. I know you were there. I know you followed the team all season. How would you rate the team play this year in this game compared to how they played throughout the year?
I thought they were a good team still, but I think that they met a more difficult opponent than what they've faced the rest of the season. I think the kids from Monadnock were a more formidable foe. And I agree with you that I think Coach Gush and his offensive coordinator, they stuck with what got them to where they were, right, for a long period of time during that game. And they didn't really change too much until they got themselves in a situation where they were running out of clock time, and I think at that point you started to see them become a little more creative with some of their offensive plays, and they kind of got away from that 2-back set and kind of just put one person back there. At the end of the day, Keegan, it seemed like Keegan was really more passing the ball than Adam Breton was, but nonetheless, I thought it was an exciting game. I thought that both teams played, a hard-fought football game with a lot of hitting, and at the end of the day, Campbell came out victorious.
Yeah.
I'll also say this because I have some familiarity with Campbell, is that it seems like Coach Gush is a smart enough coach that he goes with what his strengths are. I mean, I think a couple years ago when my son played and the year after my son played when Kyle Manning was the quarterback, they probably scored a higher percentage of their touchdowns on passing plays than running plays. But I think he garnered from this group of running backs that he had that this was an opportunity for him to accentuate those between the three of them, Nick Boucher and Ryan and Keegan Mills. I think he took that advantage to use those 3 kids at what they were really good at, and he was successful in the first couple games and decided that he needed to stick with that offense. So credit to him because they won the state title with it.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, roving reporter John McKenna. So we went from that to the Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving that John McKenna was the coach of, the winning North side team. North has beaten the South 4 consecutive seasons, 6 out of total of 7, if I understand that correctly.
South hasn't won since I played.
Yeah, no, I threw an interception.
Excellent.
Yeah, I did make 1 tackle also, but John McKenna was the coach of the week.
You're supposed to tackle?
No, but we had some tackling in that game.
Nice.
That was fun.
So let's not confuse the two. So I was coach of the week, Rob, in the fantasy league that I'm in with Jim, and that's because my team, the North Korean Air Force, beat the GOAT team.
The GOAT.
106-105.
Yeah, by 1
Wow.
point. 1 point. It was a squeaker.
Yeah.
All I needed was Larry Fitzgerald to catch another pass, and he did not.
Right.
And that was that.
Coulda,
So
woulda, Rob, that's kind of like coulda, woulda, shoulda, And what it really was is that I picked up Carlos Hyde, and I took a strategy of not playing Alex Smith and instead played Jared Goff, and basically I outscored him and outcoached him.
Wow. Should probably been playing Jared Goff all year.
John is probably the best coach in the league this week.
Wow, that's it. That's like the skinniest kid at fat camp, is it not?
Yeah, that's kind of a backhanded compliment, I think. But now let's talk about the Turkey Bowl. I thought the Turkey Bowl was really good this year. While I agree that the North beat the South,
You had good
and the
weather.
South had the South had some good talent. They had some of the Campbell players from the season, and they had a pretty good team. They basically came down to this game came down to not a level of talent. I think both teams had a good level of talent on them. It came down to coaching, and it was me against Jason Allen,
Jason
which
Allen,
is
yeah.
kind of like Vince Lombardi against Rex Ryan.
Right.
So he
I
didn't have
would
a
agree with
chance.
that.
I mean, as Jim pointed out, he threw an interception, but my coaching strategy was that I felt bad for Jason, so I kind of went with my fourth or fifth string quarterbacks towards the end of the game to give them an opportunity to play because I had kind of burned them with my first three quarterbacks.
Well,
And they still have that stupid quarterback rule.
there are stupid
Yes, they
quarterback
do.
rules everywhere.
They do
Yeah.
have that super quarterback rule that once you score a touchdown, you can't be quarterback anymore.
Yeah. Well, that was a new rule this year.
That's stupid.
No, it's good. It's a good rule because it gives everybody a chance to play if they want
Yeah,
to play.
and Rob, as you can imagine, Jim could have played the whole game, but we mixed it up.
Yeah, I could have because I kept throwing interceptions. You're right.
So if you throw an interception, does that wipe the touchdown away and you can still play?
Yeah, well, in Jim's case, he could have still played. There was no rule against that, but a coaching decision was made to move along.
I wasn't even allowed on the field after that. In fact, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I think I went with my strongest players towards the end of the game, and in fact, my son made a couple of really nice plays towards the very end of the game on defense to stop a couple of those Campbell kids that were trying to come up the middle.
He did.
And so,
Speaking of Campbell kids, yes.
we were able to win the game.
Speaking of Campbell kids, it was impressive. I'll tell you what, that Ryan Yanuszewski kid, that kid is fast. He's hard to tackle. He's hard to grab a flag from. So I imagine he's hard to tackle just as well. And that Keegan Mills is just a pure athlete, and a lot of props to him. However, they were on the South Side team, did not win. That just goes to show the experience factor tends to rule, and also Jeff McPherson, because he pretty much runs things where he says speed, strength, coaching, agility, and the best looking for the North Side, according to Jeff McPherson. Jeff says
The North Sides are all the
period.
Johnny-come-latelys.
The only I'll say about that is that we saw poor Nick Boucher, who had gotten hurt in the championship game, was on the sidelines for the North, and we did tell him, say we're going to play this game for him, and so there was no doubt that what the end result was going to be. So, all right, so I think we've talked a lot about town ball.
When I make my return,
When Rob makes his return,
I don't know what that's going to
he
be.
may be a quarterback.
We will trounce them.
He'll trounce South. You saying South will trounce North?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but
Just remember these names:
all right.
Ryan Fragala, Seth Fragala, Pat Fallon, Austin Taylor, Brandon Lascelles. That's all we need.
Is this from the
Game over.
Is this from the undefeated or
Game
no-win
over.
Halvern football
South
team?
Side, original Litchfield people, not these Johnny-come-North Side latelys. People who came here after Albuquerque was paved.
Whoa. All right, fair
We call
enough.
that AA, after Albuquerque.
How else would they get it? All right, so you want to talk about Red Sox? I know this much. You want to talk about the whole.
Does
who's
John
gonna
get to
bat
be
in
on the
middle
show?
order?
Does he get to be on the show via car? Is that how we're going to do
I
it?
guess it depends on what happens with
listen,
human resources.
I'm driving, and I actually have to. Excuse myself because I feel like I've got some other important things to handle.
Are you driving Paul McCartney around this time, or you're just coming home by yourself?
I didn't hear what you said. Did you say that in a British accent?
No, I was wondering if you were driving him around.
We just
then
got to our
perhaps-
peak of viewers.
then
Maybe we
perhaps.
should talk about something good.
Right.
All right, so Red Sox Marlins haven't discussed Stanton in 2 weeks, according to the headlines here in Fenway. What are your thoughts on that, Rob? What do we need in the middle of the lineup for the Red Sox?
Well, I mean, what do you give up for John Carlos Stanton? I mean, do they want a couple of players, and then your whole farm system? And this guy's going to be on the team for the next 8 years? I saw an awesome graphic today. I think it was Fangraphs of all his
Johnny, okay? Are you? Did you drive into a lake?
John, pay attention to what you're doing, John. For God's sakes, John. We've been in the middle lane for 45 minutes. Pass somebody, John. All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye. All right, so Stanton, who do you give up for Stanton? I think I don't for Stanton or Abreu. So I think it's coming down to Abreu, who's a little bit hotter name at the moment for Boston.
Well,
Correct?
because I mean, there were indications that the Marlins were asking for crazy package. I mean, San Francisco's package, if that's what it's going to be, is going to kill anything the Red Sox can do.
Well, the more I thought about it, so he's got 8 years left on his current contract at $30-something million per year. And,
crazy.
And he's what, 26 years old?
Right.
All right. So let's just say the Red Sox do this. What happens to this guy, just like any of them, after 3 or 4 years? Now, so let's say he comes off a year where he ended up, I don't know, 25 home runs, 74 RBIs with a 242 batting average. I mean, he's a 50 home run guy. There's no doubt. But
Right.
But you can't. I don't think you take on an 8-year contract and give up everything they're giving up, or what they may be giving up. I think you need a nice power guy in the middle with 3-4 year deal that you can count on.
Right.
And build from
I
there.
mean, it's not our money, but this organization, this ownership group has cried poverty in the past, which is a joke.
yeah.
So they will bring that up if this guy sputters in 5 years, and there's so and so is the hot commodity on the market, and we can't go after him because we're too close to the threshold of the salary cap, or we're over and we're in the luxury. They're going to say that because they cry poverty sometimes. If Giancarlo Stanton if he has 8 years left on the contract and he gives you 6 years of 40+ homers, and the last 2 years he kind of sputters out, I mean, I think you would take that if you knew in a crystal ball you knew that was going to happen. But I'm not 100% positive that the salaries are going to keep getting higher and higher and crazy higher, because the next television deal is going to be very different. Because is it going to be a television-only deal? I mean, the way and it's not just sports, the way we consume entertainment now isn't just broadcast television anymore. Right. Is it going to be a television deal with Fox and ESPN, or is it going to be with Netflix and Amazon,
YouTube?
And are they going to pay the amount that the television market's paid? I'm not 100% positive that the next media deal, is going to be so big that they can start paying $35 and $40 million a year to one person. I'm not 100% that's because a lot of the writers and the people who want Giancarlo Stanton here, and for us to take on all that money, say, 2-3 years, that's a bargain, $30 million a year. I'm not positive that. I don't think that necessarily is a given. It could be. I'm not positive that the next deal is going to be a crazy amount. It doesn't mean that these teams aren't worth more. Like if they were to sell them, their value gets bigger and bigger every year. The way we consume television now is totally different, and I don't know if you're going to see those same kind of deals where you can pay somebody $40 million, $50 million a year. I don't think that's coming ever.
No, I hope it doesn't. Sports is already bad enough with that happening. But I care more about the lineup. I care more about the production. The business side of professional sports it's out of hand anyway. So I don't really care much about that. But I do care about the Red Sox. I do care about seeing somebody in the 4-hole that can protect Xander when he's batting, when he's not doing so well in the 3-hole, or when he, if he ever gets back there. But they're saying he might be part of the trade anyway, whoever they get, whether it's Abreu or Stanton. Now Abreu is intriguing to me, although he's a Dominican age 26, which puts him at probably American age 27, 28. I mean 33, 34. He should be able to give 3 or 4 more years of production.
He's a righty,
and he's a big righty first baseman. I mean, he has the potential to hit 40, 50 home runs. I mean, he's been a 35. 110 guy for the last couple of years, right? With the batting average on top of that.
He's done it more consistently than JD Martinez has.
Yeah. And JD's so I think JD is a nice additional piece. I think
If you got somebody and him, that would be fantastic.
exactly. Yeah, you put them 3 and 5 or even 4 and 5 or 4 and 6 in the batting order. That makes a big difference.
Some people were floating that we could Giancarlo Stanton might take Benintendi away.
I'm okay with that. I'm not a Benintendi fan. I know a lot of people are, and the girls love him, and a lot of the guys.
He's very handsome.
Seem to think
He has flowing locks.
He's
They're
the
flowing.
bee's knees as well, but
I heard he's a jerk.
yeah,
He's
I
kind of
don't-
a jerk.
I don't hear a lot of good things
I
about
haven't heard
that.
a lot of good things about
I
him.
don't love. I just I said this before. I don't love the fact that he was named as one of the people that were supporting David Price in his rant against Eckersley. And,
Right.
I think that just speaks poorly of him.
I spoke poorly of the whole team because nobody stood up for him, and that kind of speaks poorly for the whole lot of them.
Well, if
Lost a lot of respect for Dustin Pedroia when I heard about that too.
Well, anybody who was willing to kind of just make it clear that say, hey, we're right on or whatever it was, Benintendi was one of those, and that was made clear. He was only one of a few that were named, and nobody else spoke up, which is it doesn't necessarily mean they're for or against, but they were also whatever. That issue in itself is gone. I just know that Benintendi was named, and it just didn't sit well with me, especially since
No.
he's a dynamic player though. I'll tell
It's
you
funny. We have the best outfield we've had since Lynn Rice and Evans, and we're totally cool with Bradley and Benintendi gone
being traded. Yeah.
because we know what's going to happen with Bradley because who represents him, and we know what's going to Benintendi could turn into this giant douchebag, and
Instead
really
of a little douchebag.
and instead of a little one, at least he's not that big. Instead of and really be a kind of a jerk on this team, and we don't. I mean, the whole thing was trying to change the chemistry in the locker room. Coach Farrell seemed to have lost the locker room. Kind of the chemistry was. Well, I think they had chemistry, but it was going in the wrong direction. They were kind of a bunch of jerks.
Going back to where they were with Bobby Valentine in the year before that.
With the chicken and beer. So I don't think he's going to be much of a person that's going to change the way the locker room is going. We'll see what happens with the new coach. But yeah, it's funny. Benintendi and Bradley and Bogarts could be gone
Killer bees.
by the time we get to opening day.
Well, that's all right. So the winter meetings are coming up, and that's always a big time of year. And the Red Sox, the Red Sox being a former season ticket holder, what I know about the Red Sox is they like to make noise and splashes just before their season ticket holder invoice is due. And that's coming up on December 18th. So I think we'll see a lot of headlines in the next couple of weeks, and some that may or may not actually happen, but it'll try and get the excitement flowing so people pay their bill on time.
I think we got.
Which is very key for the Red Sox.
We made the Chris Sale trade
Yeah.
prior to that date last year.
I don't remember. I can't.
It seems like it was early, not as early as the Schilling Thanksgiving Day
right.
thing, but I thought it was an early type thing.
Yeah, I mean most of their big deals have been around just before the winter meetings or during the winter meetings, which happen to be just before and I'm pretty sure it's all by design.
So the Red Sox need more than just a
sports
bat.
business.
I mean, if we're gonna have
They don't
our
need
best
that.
pitcher, flutter at the end of the year and can't 4 or 5 ERA and can't stay in games and get pounded, doesn't matter what we have for a bat. There's a lot of things they need to take care of.
Well, I'll tell you this: if Chris Sale is in games throughout the year, the 35 games he pitches right up until the end of September, if he's in games where the offense is getting him 4, 5, 6 runs instead of 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, then he probably will be a little bit more fresh coming down the stretch in September. So I think it does play.
Yeah.
I think it does go hand in hand.
He gave up some early inning runs
Late
in the game, but I think you're right.
Late in the season.
Late in the season.
Yeah.
I think that if we have a lineup that just bashes, maybe he can get he needed a couple weeks off. He just needed time off.
And
It's
this
just too much.
year, for sure. And I just don't think that in the future that'll be a problem if he's not having to battle. So they kept him in games longer than most any other pitcher in baseball because they were in 0-0 games or 1-0 games until the 8th and 9th innings, and in the middle of the season.
But we supposedly had the best One of the best bullpens.
Well, yeah, again, but your bullpen is not as good as your starter, so, you know, supposedly, right?
That's why they're in the bullpen.
And, yeah, but you go to your bullpen with a lead, and unfortunately, the only way to keep us in games sometimes was keeping Sale in. And I just think that if they have a more formidable offense, then they will be able to have that luxury of taking him out after 6 innings or, you know, 80 pitches instead of 125 pitches.
What is your, if you thought anything about, looked into, read anything about this Japanese pitcher?
The pitcher hitter?
Is it Oshenti? Ohenti?
I don't know.
Yes. Looks like there are teams out there that are going to concede to his wishes and let him do both.
Yeah, well, I don't see any reason why you can't. Now, it comes down to the investment. You know, we keep going back to the business side of this sport, and I hate that, but it comes down to that because if you're going to pay somebody millions of dollars to do a job, you don't want him to minimize that job by doing another job. So I think that's the problem. Now, if he is as dynamic as they say, and he can play, he can bat.
Play 3 games, take a
Yeah.
day off, then pitch. Take a day off, play 3 games, take a day off.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I don't listen. You know, until you turn 35 years old, you should be able to do that kind of stuff. But
Well, if he's playing right field and he's hitting 298, hitting 25 homers, 90 RBIs, but every 3 he can't. He only plays 3 out of 7 days a week.
yeah.
Then you got to put your backup guy in there. Is that worth?
Hey,
worth it?
Romanos is here.
Hey, look at that.
Does it work? Come on over. Yeah, come on over. We'll introduce you. You're a new guy. Romanos is here delivering our fresh hot pizza of the week in a bag with buffalo wings in it, and he did not bring the box top, but that's okay. Because this is what's your name? Billy. Billy from Anaheim, evidently.
Yes.
Billy from Anaheim is here. Can you see him, Tony? No. Billy, come on over here. Come say it. There you go.
How's it going?
Billy from Anaheim is here from all the way from Romano's, bringing dinner for the folks, and you know, we love to see him.
Thank you.
Yep. And how's your night going? You're doing all right?
Yeah, not too bad.
That's all on you, Nate.
You have
Yeah, it's
you have any ones on you?
I should.
I
How much
take
would you like?
I'll take 2 back,
All right.
please. And so the people can't see, this is a $100 bill.
That's right.
And he only wanted $3 back. That's a $97 tip.
All right, thanks,
Hey,
guys.
good to see you. Thanks.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks to Romano's hooking us up, as they do.
Always.
As they do every week. Tony's coming over to get his wings. Let's see what they're showing tonight. We do have to talk, oh, there's some wings with some
Look at that.
buffalo. Oh, poor Rob doesn't like buffalo wings. Tony, I got a box for you. You want a box?
Hard to believe that there's any kind of food that I turn down.
Oh, doctor.
Oh, goodness
Look at
gracious.
this, Tony. That's for
It's all
you.
you, baby. Yeah, the water. You got the water?
You know that buffalo wings are light in carbs. Did you know that?
Good.
For those of us on.
But spicy food does help your metabolism. Oh, come on.
Uh-oh. All right, we're back.
That's why you put it under the shirt.
We're losing viewers left and right at this point.
John, you can't even put your
We're down to
microphone on.
So the Red Sox, I don't know. Yeah, they're. What was the last question before we got interrupted?
Well, we're talking about the Japanese pitcher.
The pitcher hitter, yeah.
pitcher hitter.
Yeah, 3 games on, 1 game off. Pitch a game.
You
day
don't
off,
even know what his name is.
3 games.
I forgot what his name was.
It's Hiroki Oshima.
I've, over the years, because of when we go to Japan and find these pitchers, they're not, you know, they've pitched in Japan a few years already, and they've gone through these academies, these pitching academies. You know, once they're a young ball player, 12, 14, 13 years old, and it looks like they have some prowess, they enter these academies and they go to school, and all they do is do their sport and go to school. I find, and now this isn't this is a regional thing and not a racial thing. I find that the Asian pitchers break down. We know that Tanaka could be 1 pitch away from his end career. He's been pitching on that frayed rotator cuff for a long time. Darvish had almost a year off. We know what happened with Daisuke. I think Nomo was the only one that really pitched almost a 15, 16-year career. I think investing that much money in something you really don't know and you're taking a shot at, and I think Dice K kind of proved that. I thought it would make them a little more gun shy. They seem to be kind of kicking the tires on this guy. I thought it would make them a little bit more gun shy on going off to Asia and trying to get a pitcher that the arms are they're almost worn out by the time they get here. With the amount of innings they pitch, the amount of pitches they pitch.
Yep.
So if he goes to someone else, I'm not going to be heartbroken. I think it's kind of a circus. Somebody like San Francisco or a smaller market team that needs kind of that kind of thing to get an exciting type
Well,
of
San Francisco
pitcher and hitter.
and Stanton the same year that'll make them relevant again. And Pablo and Sandoval, who the way he played towards the end of the year as well. So with respect to Romanos brings us dinner every week. I gotta mention to the crowd here that for now until Christmas, for every $5 in gift cards you buy, you get $1 free. You can spend as much as you want. Spend $100, you get $20 free in gift cards. So that's one of their promotions going on right now. They were going to send me a box topper that told me more what else they had going on, but they didn't send me one. But that's okay. Go to Romano's, enjoy the food, and
They have daily specials.
Apparently
on the website. You
they
can
do a
read
daily
them.
special on the website. They also Romano's which is 37 Colby Road in Litchfield. They have
Used to
been
be a
voted,
dentist's office, if you didn't know that.
they've been voted the best chicken finger in southern New Hampshire. or
They did
something.
win?
I don't know.
No, I think they were
They
nominated.
were in the running. They were definitely in the running.
Yeah, it's tough to beat the back room.
I've got the actual buffalo rings here. These are good too.
I think
So
other
that's a
people
good
have been.
looking wing.
Other people have said in the back room a little overrated. I've been there once, had the chicken fingers. My wife had the chicken fingers, and I sampled it, and they're okay. They were good. They're
Backroom
very
chicken
good.
fingers. They're
It was not something I would consider the best.
they are good though. Maybe a lot of people that eat them drink the mudslides as well. At the same time.
People do like the mudslides, so that helps. So we've talked a lot about an off-season sport in baseball. The Patriots are just so good they're boring. Celtics are playing tonight. They went on a big streak. They end up losing their streak to Orlando, the Miami Heat, and Kelly Olynyk, the Clinic.
Clinical in it.
Then they went out and beat Indiana, which is a pretty good team, and then
Came back and
lost to the Pistons, who I hadn't realized who was playing very
good.
well.
They are pretty good.
It brings us to the dilemma of people and the experts saying that the big center, who is a on the paint scorer, is a dinosaur and a thing of the past, and you don't need one of those guys anymore to win. And Andre Drummond put 20 and 22 on us.
Which he does every game he's ever played in the Garden. He's averaged over 20 rebounds a game. So he likes rebounding at the Garden.
So is that something that I think could have been over? I mean, I think they could have counteracted that with a little more early with some more Baines, just to bang him around a little bit. He did hit 60% of his. Well, he hit 80% of his free throws.
He's been doing
That
that this
particular
year,
day.
actually, which is
Yeah. But Brad Stevens didn't really make that kind of move. Do you think that the next time they play, it'll be a different lineup, or do you think he's going to stick with the small lineup?
I think they have to counteract Drummond, but and I'm not worried about the next time they play. I'm worried about the playoffs because right now it seems like Detroit is the most formidable team contending for the Eastern Division or the Atlantic, whatever division, the East.
East.
Yeah. So Cleveland's starting to play well too. By the way, they've won 8 in a row. So they're getting their act together with LeBron leading the charge, and Detroit is playing well, and the Celtics are obviously playing well. Baines is good. Baines I think can hold his own. And as far as what when you started that conversation saying that the dinosaur of being the 7-footer clog the lane type guy, when Baines is in there, it makes a big difference for the run and gun offense that we have because we're getting offensive rebounds that we didn't get last year. We're getting
Right.
and then defensively, it's not that simple for somebody to just come in, and take a layup because they're getting challenged at every turn.
It's just too big and strong for Horford to handle.
He's a big fella.
And I guess there was a stat, I didn't see it, about the Celtics are, sort of as a plus-minus stat, Celtics are more on the plus side when Baines and Horford play together at the same time. And I think that having Marcus Morris be on the second team off the bench solve two problems. The problem that they have with their bench scoring. If Marcus Smart isn't, 1 out of 10 games he's going to be on fire, great. Rozier needs to be more consistent, and then they really don't have that consistent scorer on the bench. I think if you use Marcus Morris as a sixth man, start Baines, especially against teams that have big men, you can kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yep, makes some sense.
Because I think for me, the streak meant nothing when you run into a team like Detroit and they handle you. They handled them better than the score indicated. They came back, but I shut the game off a couple times and switched, and I never thought the Celtics were going to win that game by what I was seeing.
Even that Miami game that they lost, they were down by 18, 19 points in the second half.
Yeah, they can't do that.
They cut it. They cut it to 1, or they took the lead even.
Yeah,
and
they
then
can't
before bailing
they can't
out.
consistently do that. That's gonna hurt because Washington they haven't played Washington yet. They're gonna be decent. They beat Toronto. I don't think Toronto's that great, but they can sneak up on you and beat you in the regular season, give you a headache. Washington definitely can. You have to pay attention to Detroit. You have to pay attention to Cleveland. I even think the Knicks, if you nap on the Knicks, they're going to give you a rough time. So I think there's more better teams this year as far as that matchup with the Celtics than there were last year. I think the teams that were under the Celtics last year, other than Washington, I don't think they matched up very well against them, and they weren't very good. But I think from all the player personnel moves that they've made in those teams, they match up better against the Celtics this year.
Maybe. They're what, at a 19-3 right now?
With 4 losses.
Really?
Yeah.
They've lost. Oh, you're right, twice.
They lost first 2.
They're either 18-3 or 19-3, and that puts them by far in front of everybody in the East and the West.
They have 4 losses, and Detroit has 6 losses, and one of the losses is to Detroit. So, they're number 3, and they're ahead of them by a few games, but it's definitely something that we need to look at. Like you said, and NBA doesn't really start till after Christmas and after the All-Star break when things start getting in the nitty-gritty. So we'll see towards that part of the year. Teams make moves, people get hurt. I read today that the Celtics are not likely to use their exception for the Gordon Hayward injury. Not likely to use that until later, if at all. Which was interesting to me because one of the questions I had after watching Detroit and seeing what Drummond did is it worth it giving Jahlil Okafor a flyer now if you're not giving up a draft pick? Is that something that he could do for you? Could he give you 10 and 10? But you don't need 20 and 20. You don't need you don't need a 20 and 20 guy
I just really
to
like.
offset Drummond.
I just really like how and I didn't love how they broke up the team from last year to this year, but it's working. But the team is playing so well together. I don't know why you bring in somebody else, and I think that's probably what Danny's thinking. And even though he has the exception, if something were to come up, like if Anthony Davis was available, there was some talk this week about would you trade Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart or somebody for Hubert Davis.
Anthony Davis.
What's his name?
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. And there was a lot of people that said they would. I probably would too right now because Anthony Davis is one of the best 3 players in the NBA, probably.
Yeah, but isn't he on his 4th concussion?
Yeah.
It's
Maybe.
And
I mean
in a
that would
vacuum,
definitely
do
definitely
that
play
trade.
into it. But Jason Tatum, I think, is the next Anthony Davis if the way he's playing right now. If he continues to get better and stronger, this guy is smooth on the 3-point shooter. He hits his threes. He takes it to the hoop.
You like the cojones
Plays
on a 19-year-old
defense.
kid
Yeah.
that'll take it to the glass, take it to the hoop, and don't try to dunk on anybody.
Yep.
you gotta like that. He looked like in summer ball and early on. He kind of looked like he might be a little timid. Like in summer ball, you know, he was taking advantage of those scabs, but looked like at the end of the year he was maybe a little timid to do something like that. But he's been trying to dunk on everybody, and you're gonna love that set of cojones on a 19-year-old kid who wants to take the ball and dunk on everyone.
And I don't know. It would be hard for me to trade him unless you get somebody in the top like 3 or 4.
I know we do fall in love with our players, but
We do.
Anthony
I guess we
Davis is healthy and in a vacuum, no concussions. This guy is a generational player, I think.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Kyrie, I think Kyrie's a generational player. And
Kyrie is
it
phenomenal.
It pains me to say that because I hate Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah. I like Duke.
I
I like
hate
Duke.
Duke.
I like IT, but I still like Kyrie.
I hate Duke.
All right. So Celtics check. We'll check them off for this
Done.
one.
Red Sox
Patriots. Red Sox done. Patriots. So the Patriots are sitting in with the best record in the AFC, tied with Pittsburgh, I believe. Now Pittsburgh's a game behind, and Kansas City has fallen off the map. They came out and blew out the Patriots in Week 1. Now they're 6-4, struggling to be 7-4.
Relevant.
Relevant,
to be
yeah.
relevant.
So this week we have, we're going into the time of year where teams are getting themselves ready for the playoffs, sort of. Some teams are actually going up to become playoff, trying to get into the playoffs, and others are just trying to get themselves healthy and ready, ready for the playoffs. So, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I guess with the next couple of weeks here, with teams like the Giants, and who they're saying the coach is saying, let's see what these other guys can do, and the fans are saying they're tanking the season so that they can get a better draft pick. What do you think is
Good for
happening
them.
over there?
Good for them.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to run into, when we play Miami again in 2 weeks, you're looking at a team that is probably just out to hurt somebody.
And Ndamukong Suh is definitely one of those players who
Cameron
looks
Wake,
forward to
I
that.
didn't know Cameron Wake was dirty until I saw him throw off, just all of a sudden his foot hits down in the almost the crotch region. They have nothing to play for. They like their little. They like being the team that that hurts people, the one that everybody's supposed to be afraid of.
Yeah.
They have this. What's the word I'm looking for? It's reputation of. You'll know when you play the Miami Dolphins. You may not win, but you'll know the next day when you play them. They're a tough team. They're a dirty team.
So this is your answer to my asking you about the Giants?
I'm getting there. First, we have to play them first.
Yeah, but
Buffalo, I think we'll.
I don't care about who we're playing. We're going to win every game. Patriots win all the time. Doesn't matter what they're doing.
We have to go to Pittsburgh.
Let's talk
the
about
game.
that.
That's the
That's
game.
something that might keep some viewers.
So if Tom Brady isn't in a coma from Sue and Cameron Wake,
Yeah.
then when we go to Pittsburgh, we'll have to play Pittsburgh.
So we're going to Pittsburgh, Heinz
Going
Field. You've got that team who struggling to score points this year, and but their defense is shored up quite a bit compared to years past.
That's what they say.
Some people are trying to say that now that this is if they're ever going to get past the Patriots, this is the year because of their defense and so on and so forth. But I just don't think that. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a huge mismatch in the coaching staff area, and a huge mismatch in the quarterback area.
What's it, Hundley? What's his first name? I don't know. Todd. Didn't they almost beat them? And then the week before that, they barely beat someone else.
Yeah,
They
Green Bay almost beat them.
Yeah,
last
Green
week.
Bay almost beat
They
them.
Probably should have beat them.
With Hundley. And the week before that, didn't they have a tough time with
Baltimore.
Kansas City or somebody? It was where they had to come back from behind. They're not.
Yeah.
I've heard the defense is a lot better, but I mean Antonio Brown is amazing, and but I don't know. I don't see how it's much different yet. I mean, until proven
I don't either.
otherwise, we like to say that with the Patriots. Until proven otherwise, Patriots should walk in there and take care of business.
So who in the AFC? Is it Jacksonville still? I mean, so didn't we already play Jacksonville? Didn't we beat them?
I don't think we played Jacksonville.
No, not yet.
But if we end up playing them, maybe after Wild Card Week, they'll come to here and we'll smush them.
All right. So we're going to get through the AFC. again.
Right.
It's like it's old hat. You know, I was somewhere the other night. We were talking about it, and we were talking about how my kids, my oldest being 19 years old, have never seen a bad Patriots team.
Right.
You know, we remember bad Patriots teams. Bad. Like, they were bad.
We
at
could only
one
watch
point.
half of the season.
That's what it was. I was talking to a Giants fan. So, anyway, the Giants fans are not happy about
No.
Eli Manning, and I don't know if I have an opinion about it per se, because I could care less about Eli Manning. In fact, I have a T-shirt that says I hate Peyton Manning and Eli sucks too. But when you talk about destroying a fan base, what were the Giants thinking? Any thoughts on that?
I think once Beckham went down and they couldn't win a game, I mean, why trot him out? Why trot him out there?
It's 11 weeks ago, though, or 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, but why? I mean, at this point, they lost like 6, 7, 8 games.
So why trot Manning out there?
Why? I mean, what are you going to accomplish? What are you gonna
I don't know. I think it's the way it was
Because
handled.
they're a proud organization.
But, yeah.
Big deal. Don't you want better players?
It's probably not as big a deal as the Giants
I mean, I can
fans are
see the
making it out to be.
being mad at the treatment of him, saying that we're going to try other quarterbacks and see what we got.
Yeah.
If you just come out and say, well, you can't, but if you just come out and say, we have a better chance of losing if we sit Eli, and we need to tank it and get the best draft picks we can get.
Yeah.
The fans would accept that, but you can't say that. So you can only lie and say, well, we're going to see what we got in Geno Smith. This new guy, this Geno Smith, who his own player punched him in the jaw and broke his jaw in the training camp, who is an utter useless, garbage quarterback. We're going to see. We may have something here in Geno Smith. Instead of lying to them saying that, that's why they're so pissed off.
Yeah.
Because they think Eli is getting a raw deal, which he kind of is. But, hey, hold the clipboard, make your money. You're not going to get hit anymore. There's an atrocious line. He's getting smoked. I mean, if a Giants fans get over it and just accept that you're going to get better players in the long run, if you trust your ownership.
So the talk then is Eli goes to Jacksonville, reunites with the old BC coach there, whatever his name was.
Coughlin.
Tom Coughlin, and then they become all of a sudden the only team that can ever beat the Patriots because they're the only team that ever has in the Super Bowl, right? So the
he
likelihood of
gonna
that
have-
happening for next year
Is
is
he going to have Kiwamuka, Pierre-Paul, and all those guys?
Yep, all those guys. They're
I
all
think
going.
so.
All right, so I, in the sense, the fact that tonight's dragging a little bit, that we have the Cowboys and the Redskins tonight after this show
I bet
is
they
over.
thought that was going to be a good game when they made the schedule.
They did, right? So the NFL,
Thursday night guys are like, we'll show you Thursday night sucks. This is going to be a game.
the Cowboys and the Redskins,
Ooh.
which is always a great rivalry game, right? And they always play each other very well, whether they're both 3-13 or one's 13-3 and the other one's 3-13. It's always comes down to it's a battle. It's a battle. So they're in what are they called? Longhorn Steakhouse Field or something? I don't know.
Who cares?
They're in Texas tonight, and
They should win.
and they should win.
Cowboys
Dallas
should
should
win.
beat Washington, right?
should.
They're actually getting points. So the prediction, which by the way, after 11 weeks and 3 weeks off, after 8 predictions, my record is 6-2, predicting the Thursday night game, starting with the Kansas City covering of the Patriots in Week 1.
Oh, you picked the point thing?
I did. Well, I didn't pick the points, but I picked Kansas City to stay within the game,
Oh.
within
I don't think
7
I've
points.
picked any of these games correctly.
Well, I'm picking Dallas tonight, so I'm going to be 8-2.
What's the spread? A couple of points?
I don't know.
Two and a
Let's
half?
just say Dallas is getting is plus 1.5.
Plus 1.5? I'd still take Dallas.
Dallas. All right, so we're both taking Dallas. We'll give John
I
Washington.
want Dallas to lose, always, at all times.
We'll give John Washington this week and continue his streak of being 0-11.
Good old John.
So, anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No. I don't think, I'll get back to that, but we may not have a show next week.
Well, my wife. We have to make sure clear before you go there. My wife has clarified that it is called AT&T Stadium. In fact,
AT&T Stadium.
in Dallas. Thank you, Cheryl. Much
Think about Jerry
appreciated.
Jones. Do you remember when he built the stadium and he made a separate deal with Adidas or Nike to have a sponsorship and put their logo all the way around, and the rest of the teams, the rest of the NFL, pissed off. You're supposed to share revenue, But he found a loophole when, I paid for this stadium, I'll do what I want. And he stood up to them and he got it. Now they all do it.
No, I'll do it.
So he's a kind of a marketing genius. But aren't you giggling that the chickens have come home to roost now with Ezekiel Elliott having to serve his suspension? And now Jerry's all up in arms about, oh, how come my best player has to serve his suspension? This is not fair.
Well, he had told Kraft to kind of suck it up a while, 2 years ago, and yeah, last year. So, oh, you're right. All right. Oh, we actually at the end of our show we actually have somebody wanting to ask a question. Jay Sweeney. Hi, Jay. How you doing? Oh, by the way, Jay, I believe threw a touchdown, probably the winning touchdown in the Turkey Bowl.
Oh, he's a Northerner?
Yep, of course he's a Northerner. This is likely to be like beating the Patriots while playing for any Florida professional football team is as likely as the South beating the North on Thanksgiving. So Jay does speak from experience because he made the biggest goal line tackle in the flag football game. He also made the best touchdown pass of the game after my interception, actually. So
He bailed you out.
yep. So thanks,
Someday,
Jay.
When
Much
I lose
appreciated.
200 pounds, I'm bringing my boys.
You're coming back. You're coming back. Low carb diet. That's what I'm on.
Hey, I mean, 2001 Sports Zone indoor flag football champion.
You were a 2001 Sports Zone flag football
Around that
champion?
time, before I had kids.
Good for you. It's a team. It is a team. Team. There's no I in team. You're right, Jay. I was just giving you props anyway. All right. I think I'm out. You out?
We're awful at signing off.
All right.
That's Jim.
That's Rob.
Fantastic Sports. John, sorry you couldn't make it.
John, good luck with HR this week.
Yep, hopefully we'll have you back. Tony
Tony.
on the Wheels of Steel.
We'll see you.
We're out.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.